All right, software for agriculture. And that's kind of a loaded topic. There's a lot of things that are specific to agriculture and some things that are not. If I had to say what is the number one tool for agricultural businesses that ag businesses want you to know, it's Microsoft Excel. Not just know how to use a spreadsheet, but specifically Microsoft Excel. If you are good at Excel, you are valuable to companies. They want people who know how to use Excel to look at data, to manipulate data, to store data, gather data, whatever. And companies use Microsoft Word. Many companies use Microsoft Outlook, which is an email, calendaring, task management type of program. But Word and Excel, absolutely core programs. Microsoft Office in general tends to be the go-to business software that people use as their day-to-day activities. Now, on the back end, that changes dramatically. Now you need something bigger. The databases that companies use and programs to manipulate information, like doing payroll or accounts payable, accounts receivable. Accounts payable, that's the things you owe to other companies, your bills. Paying your bills, accounts payable. Or collecting debts that other people owe you, accounts receivable. That's collecting your debts. Your finance division or department, they have information they need. Your inventory system, your sales, and all of that, you're going to use all kinds of different databases. One of the huge databases in agriculture is something called Famous. And so here's Famous software. I've worked for a number of companies that have used Famous as kind of their go-to main functional database to run their ag operations. And you don't have to be an ag company to use Famous. It just is a really good database management system linked for all sorts of farming operation, warehouse operations, food safety operations, and on and on and on. Again, lots of people outside of agriculture use it because it's so thorough, but it's also expensive. It's hard to learn on the back end. How do you actually set it up for your company and manage it for your company? Once you get it set up, the users, the people in the sales office, or the people who have to deal with it, you can make it really easy for them, but you did all the hard work getting it set up for them. But if you're a big company, you need something that's robust and can't be screwed up. Excel is powerful, but it can be screwed up so easy, so fast, so bad. You don't put mission critical functions in Excel. You just don't do it. Not for a big company. That's just stupid. So Famous is a tremendously valuable, popular database management system. And I'm not going to go through all the details here, but Famous has the ability to not only gather the data, but present useful presentations, summaries, and business intelligence categories of your information to make solid business decisions. They're there to help you. They are there. Warehouse management, mobile field case tags. So if you're using Famous, let me rearrange. If you're using Famous, you can have that tied in to mobile devices out in the field. You can have that tied into printers, and you could have information that is going from corporate headquarters in New York right down to the harvest of a field in Salinas with mobile devices, and it's all tied together. You can have label printers and barcoding systems and everything that can all link together. And for a big efficient company, you need a database management system to tie things together. And this isn't a sales pitch for Famous. There's a lot of competitors out there. I'm just telling you, Famous is one that many of the big companies in ag have used, but it's not the only one that the big companies have used. But it's big for a reason, because it's good. It does do what it says it does. Forms and printing, and here's what appears to be a check. So I don't know if it's doing payroll or if it's doing accounts payable, but it's sending money to somebody, either an employee or a company that you owe money to. SST, another software system. SST software offers a wide range of database tools to help the farm manager and other stakeholders in agricultural production. So these are kind of the components, the bits of SST software. SST Summit. Again, it's tying together things about production. Here you see, growth stage, crop height. You're actually taking production information. And yeah, you can do that with Excel, but, or not Excel, excuse me. You can do it with Excel too. You can do it with Famous, but SST is more specifically designed, the Summit portion is specifically designed for production agriculture data. And you can tie the two together. You could have SST modules that are feeding into Famous. And I don't know how well these two specifically get along with each other, but you can have multiple database systems feeding off of each other. That's something that your IT department can do in most cases. Some don't get along too well, and it's not worth it. But some, it makes a lot of sense. FarmRight, on-demand information services. Again, I'm not going to go in any detail. Cirrus, decisions in motion, as they say. SST Analytics, where it has all of the graphing and analysis components to take that data. So they are much more farmer-oriented, production farmer-oriented. I would say Famous is bigger, but that doesn't mean they're the best choice always. Trimble, maybe you've heard of them. Trimble is one of the monsters of GPS, GIS systems. So if you've got a tractor with a GPS system attached to it, sometimes you can literally be reading a book while the tractor is doing most of the work. And the only time you have to look up from your book is to turn the tractor around when you get to the end of the rows, because the GPS is doing the real work of keeping the tractor straight and doing what it needs to do, adjusting the equipment that's attached to the tractor as you're going. All of the things the driver used to have to do, GPS can handle. And GPS can overlay information on crop health, on irrigation and pesticide applications, and you name it. If it can be measured and it can be tied to a geographical location in a field, it can be managed through a Trimble system. Now, GPS is Global Positioning System. Where the hell am I? So not only where am I longitude and latitude as a specific point on the globe on Earth, but exactly how high of elevation I am. It can tell whether I'm at the AliSal campus in room 204 upstairs or in room 104 downstairs just below it. GPS systems are that good. And so they're very useful to not only know where you are, but then GIS, Geographic Information Systems. So the G means something different here, Geographic Information Systems. That's where you're overlaying information on the map or the geography. So in my field, which is laid out by GPS, I can overlay information about where the crop actually is, which plants are happy, which ones are stressed, where I need to add more fertilizer, where I'm a little dry and need to irrigate more. All of that can be overlaid. Maybe you've used Google Earth or Google Maps. If you haven't used Google Earth, play around with it. Go look at your house in Google Earth. It's kind of fun. But Google Earth is a geographic positioning system of planet Earth. Not all of it, but much of it. And virtually any non-military site in the United States, maybe some Indian reservations don't have permissions, I don't know. But you can zoom in and look at all the information there. You see the roads. What is the roads? A geographic information system layer of information on top of the map. So the map is literally aerial photography or satellite photography, all stitched together. And then you can overlay roads, trains. You can improve the aerial photography by adding specific, better blue lines to indicate rivers and lakes. You can add where the pizza parlors are. You can add crime rate statistics. You can add any layer you want. If you can gather the information on some information and where it is, you can overlay it in something like Google Earth. Play around with it. But Trimble uses that same concept in order to overlay crop health and crop production, crop management information onto a map of your fields. And it also will control specific equipment like your tractors and other devices as they move through the field for what we call precision agriculture. Data Mars. Well, RFID is a radio frequency identification tag. So rather than just putting brands and ear tags on livestock, you can give them an RFID tag, the same kind of like chipping your cat when you take your cat to the vet or you get an animal from the pound or from the SPCA, you can get them chipped. Well, what is that? It's an RFID tag, radio frequency identification. And it's just a little chip that it will activate with the proper frequency radio waves and send back a little, here I am, with a little tiny piece of information. And it can have, you know, the name of your pet, the name of, or the phone number to call if this pet is found, or in the case of a cow, you could have some very basic information about which cow is this and who owns it, and some other information. RFID works in many different ways. You can use it for inventory control in stores, so it can cause a machine to beep as you're going out the door. So somebody trying to steal expensive small items by slipping them under their coat, the RFID tag can trigger the detector to prevent you from going out. Now, a lot of those detectors are not RFIDs. There's other ways to have alarm systems on your inventory. But the advantage of RFIDs is not just triggering the alarm, it tells you exactly what that item is. So there are some stores that have done some testing with RFID tagging, and the idea could be at a grocery store, you put everything in your cart and you bag it as you go. And you don't go to the checkout, you just go to your car and put it in your car. On your way out the door, the RFID tag on every single item will tell what the item is and what the price is and how many quantity of it you put in your cart. It'll tell you exactly what's in your cart, and then charge your Google Pay or your Apple Pay on your phone, because it will read that as well on your way out the door. Can that be done? Yeah, it's already been done. People aren't comfortable with it yet, and there are problems with the accuracy of it in certain situations. It's kind of challenging to do it, so it's not being done very widespread, but there are some stores that do that using RFID technology. So I'm giving you that other example because here's a livestock specific company creating an app to track your livestock. You can track anything with RFID tags. I've used RFID tags to track shipments of lettuce, so we know where the lettuce is going, and when we get the lettuce shipments, the RFID tag can tell us some information about that shipment, and then a data logger can tell us what happened with the temperature of that as we go. The RFID tag isn't going to record the temperature, but you have a combination. The RFID tag identifies the shipment, and the data logger logs the temperature profile, so we know what happened to that product in shipment. Lots of software apps for your Android, iPhone, or iPad. Tons and tons and tons and tons of things out there. And, you know, I'm just going to rattle through nozzle calc. So again, calculating the spray nozzles to make sure that you are doing applications correctly for foliar applications of pesticides and foliar nutrition sprays, things like that. AgriScout, for people who are out in the field who are doing field mapping, field scouting, PCAs who are looking for pests and diseases or looking for problems. You can walk the fields and all of the data is being kept. The GPS device in your phone or handheld device is logging in exactly where you are as you're logging in what you're seeing. Branty Tank Pro, it's a tank mix compatibility app. So again, for making pesticides or herbicides, an app to help with the tank mixes, make sure there's no errors in tank mixes. I've seen people lose their jobs. I've seen people, you know, destroy $100,000 of things in one afternoon's work because they made an error in their tank mix and just fried the crop. Genuity Rootworm Manager. Talk about specific. It's from Monsanto, and again, it's looking to determine the risk of corn rootworm. So a very targeted app for a very targeted situation. You'd be amazed at how many apps are out there. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of apps. Some of them good, some of them crap, some of them awesome. And some of them is just so specific to a particular need. But if it matches with a need of yours, it's like, wow, this is cool. I've got this little app on my phone, and it certainly beats some of the apps I have on my phone. It's a lot better than the Walmart app. I actually can do something useful on this damn thing. Oops, Tiger Sul Calc, micronutrient enhanced sulfur fertilizers. Again, sprayer calibration. How do I calibrate my sprayers? Seed Star Mobile, and for planter operations and setting up planters and calculating operations with seeding. Net Irrigate, I think the name speaks for itself. Enlist Ahead, Weed Control app. Again, just you can take some time. Oh, I do want to stop on this one. The canopy measurement. You can look at an actual photograph, but then what is the computer looking at in terms of estimating ground cover canopy? This can be really valuable in trying to determine growth rates, in helping you understand evapotranspiration rates, because part of the evapotranspiration calculation is trying to understand first how much of the ground is exposed and how much is shaded by the canopy of my crop. And without that information, it's really hard to know. So this is saying that there's a 26.52% cover. Field sampling, so you're taking sampling for whatever purpose, whether it's soil sampling or food safety sampling. There's specific apps that will help you with a procedure. You determine the field sampling procedure you wish to use, and it will help guide you in the sampling process. Another one, Open Scout for scouting fields. And on and on and on. I just barely scratched the surface. I don't even know if all of those are still available, to tell you the truth. They come and go like you wouldn't believe, but those are some that received some pretty high marks from users when I put this presentation together about 4 years ago. And I'm sure Famous is still around, but some of the other phone apps, they come and go, but the good ones stick around. So talk to people, find out what people are using, and ask questions, do some internet searching yourself, and you might find some things that could be very valuable. Play with them on your own phone and maybe bring them to the attention of your supervisor and just say, hey, this is like pretty interesting. Look what I'm doing with this. And they might find a use and go, wow, this could save us some time. Time is money. You just earned yourself some brownie points and maybe consideration for a promotion down the road. All right. So that's it on ag specific software. Don't forget about the king of ag software tools, Microsoft Excel.